G'day guys, welcome to another video on My Blue Heaven. Finally, the trade period is done and dusted, and we can now move on. And I must admit, I'm happy. I'm really happy. Well, maybe happy's not the right word. You can get a little bit carried away at this time of year with what you do and the direction you take, but I'm comfortable. I am really comfortable and content with this. I don't know if it's a new direction, because maybe it's been in place a little bit over the last couple of seasons. And I've been trying to get my head around it, and I've spoken about this in previous videos, guys, but I am feeling really optimistic about the future of our football club. And I'm not necessarily talking about the short-term future, which includes 2025. And I stand by my last video, and I appreciate the feedback. Got no problems with, you disagreeing with me regarding our list. And maybe I did exaggerate slightly on the quality of our list, but I still feel, and I'm stand by this, I still feel like this isn't a premiership winning list, and I feel the club know that, particularly our list management group, and even Brian Cook and now Graham Wright coming in, I think is excellent for us, very experienced, and I know he'll be the CEO of our football club, but very experienced in this space in regards to list management and what a premiership team should look like. So I stand by that, and I don't feel like next year, even though we'll be a strongest team next year, and I fully expect us to play finals football. And anything can happen. I don't think we're ready yet, and maybe we are more along the lines of a Brisbane Lions. That this will take time, and there's been potentially some mistakes being made over the last couple of seasons, or since Michael Voss took charge. Circumstances change around the list and the quality of the list and what you think of the list, whether it's good enough or not. But I think there's been a definite shift. I think Voss has been, and I think they're really happy with Michael Voss. I really do. I think culturally and from a leadership point of view, the club's in a really strong position. And the reason why I say that, we move Matt Owies and Matthew Kennedy, great, very good club players, solid citizens. By all reports, just great around the club, selfless. And when you move players of that calibre out of the football club, there's a worry that it could disrupt, but I don't see that. I see them departing and speaking glowingly of Carlton, their experience at Carlton, and understanding that this is the direction the club needs to make. And I think we've been extremely transparent with Kennedy and also Owies. I'm not going to get into whether I feel like they needed to stay. I'm not disappointed. I wish them well, but I'm not disappointed with Owies and Kennedy going from a football point of view, from a playing point of view. I think they can be covered with younger players, fresher players, and going a different direction. But they speak glowingly of the football club. There's no bad blood, and they understand the direction the club wants to take. And I like this direction. I think the club has said, Voss, you concentrate on coaching. You concentrate on getting this group playing, a really good brand of football, and let the list management team, headed up by Nick Austin and Mick Agresta and Paul Brodie, the three of them. And this comes from Brian Cook. This will come from Graham Wright, and let them do what they do really well, which is, one, identify talent, and two, put a really strong list together. And I almost feel like this trade period in particular, that has happened. We didn't budge with the Houston situation. We always said we wanted to get some fresh elite talent into the football club, and it might only be one real top quality player with pick number 3, but it was always said, and we were never going to budge with that. And it almost felt like Houston would have been somewhat of a bonus. Whether pick number 3 and the Camporelli boys and the growth from within from our younger players makes us stronger next year, I'm not quite sure. Probably not. But I don't necessarily see us going backwards. I feel like this is going to keep us in the mix in the short term, but will make us stronger in the long term. And that kind of excites me, because I think our quality is still young enough, but we need some fresh blood, and we need to somewhat reset. And I'm loving the direction. So today's video is basically talking about pick number 3, and I can understand people saying that, the draft is a lottery and you need luck. I can understand all that, but the recruiting team, and I talk about this a lot, headed up by Nick Austin, who's responsible for all the decisions made in regards to list management and the trading of picks and all that type of stuff. But there's some real experience underneath Nick Austin, and the bloke that probably, if we are going to look here in Victoria, the bloke that's responsible for identifying talent is Paul Brodie, and now he's our Victorian recruiter. It's his time now to roll his sleeves up, and he's been following these kids here in Victoria, and I feel like, Finn O'Sullivan is the one that's been touted at the moment. That mightn't happen, but we will always now that we've got pick 3, and if Finn O'Sullivan doesn't fall to us, we'll probably always look at him. So there is a genuine interest in him now. So I want to talk about him today. And regardless, we're going to get 98%. We're going to get a top quality footballer into Princess Park who's going to complement our group. And the feeling is it will be a midfielder, although Alex Taru is coming. He's coming really quickly. The key tool from the Gippsland Power. He's coming in really, really quick, and there may be a bit of a surprise. But I want to talk about Finn, and I'm calling him Mr. Sheen. I'll explain shortly. And Paul Brodie and Mick Agresta, they would have been following this kid since he was probably just out of nappies. These recruiters and their managers, they somewhat stalk these kids, and I mean that respectfully. They need to. They just follow them, and I see Paul Brodie at a lot of Coates Talent League games, deck chair out, laptop out, doing their hard yards here in Victoria, and they just do their due diligence, not on just watching them live, and re-watching the tapes. And in the case of Finn O'Sullivan, he's played just about every level, whether it's Vic Country. He's been part of the academy, the Australian Academy, or the AFL Academy, sorry. He's played APS for Xavier College, under 16, absolute star. So he's got a body of work. It's not, this year was a little bit quieter. He had some flashes this year, but he's had an injury-interrupted season and hasn't been able to get on the park as much as he would have liked. I think he only played the 5 Coates Talent League games for the Oakley Chargers. Not quite sure how many he played in the APS. I know he played the first game of the year in the APS, but suffered from, I think, a broken thumb and a broken hand and some soft tissue injuries. So, look, there's always going to be that, like, oh, shit, has he got the durability? Is he going to be injury prone? But I feel like it's just been this year that's been the concern with him. But Paul Brody's followed this kid, interviewed him, met his parents. He's from Koroit, so he's a country kid. I don't know if the family relocated here to Melbourne so he could go to Xavier College. Is Xavier College a boarding school? Maybe he's a boarder, I'm not quite sure. But he's a country kid. He's a second cousin to Sam Walsh, which I don't think comes into the equation other than the pedigree. But he's I like to use the term jet, and I am calling him Mr. Sheen. And to have the potential access to, I think, a rare talent such as OSullivan for the next 10 to 15 years is super for our football club if he lands with us. I will do some other profiles and some other blokes that could potentially go top five, not just OSullivan, because it will look a bit egg on the face if he doesn't get to Princes Park. But we will be getting an absolute beauty. Maybe he's not the type of player that will be the best from this draft in his first season. He's still not fit. I mean, some of the other players are they look physically ready to go, and I'll talk about Sam Lawler from Bacchus Marsh, from Geelong Grammar and Bacchus Marsh. He's a big solid dad, and Sid Draper from South Australia, another midfielder. He's another that's really grown physically. Maybe they'll have more growth next year in regards to be just ready to go. And OSullivan, in regards to being a midfielder straight in the midfield, maybe not. It might be more of a high half forward because he can hit the scoreboard. He's got some real X factor about him. But given some time, the kid's a star. And he's been a star for a long time. And I look at him, and I know the draft combine is something which some people turn their nose up to, and maybe we look at that, or the emphasis on that is too much, and we get a little bit carried away with the results from draft combines. But there's two areas that maybe separate OSullivan from a lot of the other midfielders in this competition, and that is just the athleticism in regards to power. He's not necessarily a line-breaking midfielder with explosive pace from stoppages. He's good on the inside, but he's exceptionally good on the outside. But he's got amazing agility, but really quick feet. And when I first watched him, it was like he was running. He was bouncing, like he was bouncing on his toes, like he was running on a trampoline or something. He was like bouncing through. And his ability to weave in and out of traffic because he's got such good agility and use the ball. He's got a great right foot, a penetrating right foot. He's not the best kick in this. And I know we are after some elite kickers, but the kid's got some raw power about him, and he can play the game. And what I like about OSullivan is from what I've seen of him, and I am calling him Mr. Sheen, the polisher, the finisher, is he's gonna complement any hardworking midfield. And what I mean by hardworking midfield is we have a hardworking midfield, and when we are on in the contest, and when we're on in clearances, we're very, very hard to beat. But that's not always the case. When it doesn't quite go our way, we don't have, I suppose, the X factor to hurt the opposition. So the way I want to explain it, guys, with OSullivan, as I mentioned at the draft combine, the running, vertical jump, he's tremendous overhead. He can go forward and kick a goal. He can go on a wing, play inside midfield, but he'll be really good on the outside. This is our midfield at the moment. So we lose Kennedy, okay, but I've got Cripper, absolute star. Walsh, star. Chera, uncertainty about his body, but good footballer. Couple of Hollands in there, one on the wing. Elijah, Pretty smart player, Elijah Hollands, but not a lot of speed, not a lot of power. Blake Acres, real workhorse on his wing, and Cooper Lord, up and coming inside midfielder. It's real workmanlike, real workmanlike, and we need to add to that mix. I've said it for a long time. We need to add to that mix. We need some cream. We need some X factor. We need some line breakers. We need some goal kicking midfielders. And this kid looks to have it all. He really does. My only knock is, I suppose, the durability and potentially maybe the reliability. And he's not a huge accumulator, but he's tough, he's competitive, and he also loves to tackle, which does show that competitive edge. So I'm going to chuck all of our current midfielders, and this is no knock on them. We'll start with Cripper, great player, average kick. Sammy Walsh, running machine, competitor, average kick. Adam Chera, consistently injured, classy, but not a lot of hurt factor. Elijah Hollands, classy by foot, quite creative, pretty slow. Who else? Cooper Law, we can chuck in there. Nice inside mid, pretty young. And I'm going to chuck another one in here as well. Let's chuck Acres in there for the sake of it. Okay, there's our midfield in there, nice and close in the contest in that bag there. All these little figurines have got little man buns, which is quite nice. And here we've got Mr. Sheen here. We've got Mr. Sheen. Finn OSullivan, the polisher. And what someone of the calibre and the skill set of, this is going well, the skill set of Finn OSullivan will do, he'll just add that polish to this group. Really add that polish. But what I like about Finn, he's not a soft polisher. He'll give these players of ours a really good polish with some elbow grease because he's a hard worker. Okay, he's a hard tackler, he's tough, he's competitive. He's a really nice mix. So if we do get him, and we mightn't, we're always going to follow him. He might be someone else's, but I'll be extremely excited. Because it's been a deficiency of our midfield for a period of time now. And I think that's been rubber stamped with asking Matthew Kennedy to explore his options, and he's gone to the Western Bulldogs, and we potentially bring in a kid who's got some real explosive power and some real X factor about him. Speak soon.